They say your wedding day is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. For me, it almost became my worst nightmare, all because of one woman who couldn't stand to see her son happy with someone else. My name is Emma, I'm 28 years old, and this is the story of how my mother-in-law, Patricia, tried to sabotage my wedding day. But what she didn't know was that I'm not the kind of person who backs down from a fight. She played dirty. So I played smarter. By the end of this story, she learned a lesson she'll never forget, and my wedding became legendary for all the right reasons. Settle in, because this tale has more drama than a soap opera. Let me introduce you to Patricia Montgomery. Designer clothes, perfectly styled hair, country club membership, and an ego the size of Texas. She was the type of woman who believed her son, Michael, was too good for anyone. I met Michael 3 years ago at a coffee shop. He was kind, funny, down to earth, everything his mother wasn't. We fell in love fast, and within 6 months, we knew we wanted to spend our lives together. The first time I met Patricia, I should have seen the warning signs. She looked me up and down like I was something stuck to her shoe. Her first words to me? "So, Michael tells me you work in retail?" The way she said retail made it sound like a disease. For context, I'm a store manager at a successful boutique. I work hard, I'm proud of my job, and I make decent money. But to Patricia, if you weren't a doctor, lawyer, or married to old money, you were nobody. Over the next 2 years, she tried everything to break us up. Accidentally setting Michael up with daughters of her wealthy friends. Making snide comments about my family's modest background. Excluding me from family events. Telling Michael he was settling. But Michael saw through her. He loved me for who I was, not what Patricia wanted me to be. When he proposed to me on a beach at sunset, I cried tears of joy. Patricia cried too, but for very different reasons. The moment we announced our engagement, Patricia's subtle hostility became open warfare. Planning a wedding is stressful enough. Planning one with Patricia breathing down your neck? That's torture. She insisted on being involved in everything. And by involved, I mean she tried to take over completely. She hated my venue choice, a beautiful garden estate. Too casual, she said. She wanted the country club. She hated my dress, a simple, elegant A-line gown. Too plain, she complained. She wanted me in a massive ball gown that looked like a cupcake exploded. She even hated my color scheme, soft blush and gold. She wanted sophisticated navy and silver. Every single decision became a battle. But here's where it got truly malicious. 2 months before the wedding, Patricia started her real campaign of sabotage. Week 1, she called my florist pretending to be me and cancelled my flower order. I only found out when I did a routine check-in. Week 2, she told the caterer I wanted to change the entire menu to foods she knew I was allergic to. Shrimp, which gives me hives, was suddenly the main course. Week 3, she accidentally sent my bridesmaids a message saying I'd decided to elope and the wedding was cancelled. Week 4, she booked a family vacation for the week of our wedding and pressured Michael to postpone everything. I was losing my mind. Every time I fixed one problem, she created 2 more. Michael was caught in the middle, and I could see the stress tearing him apart. He'd confront his mother, she'd cry and play victim, saying I was turning him against his own family. The final straw came 3 weeks before the wedding. Patricia called me and said, "Emma, dear, I think you should know, Michael has been having doubts. He told me he's not sure about this marriage. Maybe you two should take some time to reconsider." My blood ran cold. Was this true? I called Michael immediately. He was furious. He'd said no such thing. Patricia had completely fabricated the conversation. That night, Michael and I had a long talk. He apologized for not shutting his mother down harder. He promised that after the wedding, we'd set serious boundaries. But I knew Patricia wasn't done. She had something bigger planned. And I was right. Call it intuition, call it paranoia, but I knew Patricia was planning something catastrophic for the wedding day itself. She'd been too quiet for the past week. Too sweet. Too cooperative. It was the calm before the storm. So I did what any rational bride would do, I became a detective. I started by checking with all our vendors. I called each one personally, verified every detail, and set up password protection so no one could make changes without the secret code. Then I got creative. Patricia had a habit of talking loudly on the phone. She had no concept of privacy. So I asked Michael's younger sister, Jenna, who secretly couldn't stand her mother's behavior, to keep her ears open. Jenna became my inside spy. And boy, did she deliver. 1 week before the wedding, Jenna overheard Patricia on the phone with someone, saying, "Yes, I need you there at 2 p.m. sharp. Right before the ceremony starts. Make it dramatic." Jenna recorded the conversation on her phone and sent it to me. My heart was pounding as I listened. Who was Patricia talking to? What was happening at 2 p.m.? I decided to dig into Patricia's phone records. I know, it sounds extreme, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Michael had access to their family phone account, and he helped me pull the records. There it was, multiple calls to a woman named Vanessa Hartley. I googled the name. Vanessa was Michael's ex-girlfriend from college. They dated for 2 years before Patricia had pushed them to break up because Vanessa's family wasn't established enough. It all clicked into place. Patricia was planning to bring Michael's ex to our wedding to create drama, probably hoping she could convince Michael to call everything off at the last minute. But I needed confirmation. I needed to know the exact plan. So I did something bold. I called Vanessa myself. "Hi Vanessa, this is Emma, Michael's fiancé. I think his mother might have contacted you about our wedding?" There was a long pause. Then Vanessa sighed. "Oh my God, yes. Look, I'm so sorry. Patricia called me 3 weeks ago. She told me Michael was making a huge mistake, that he still had feelings for me, and that if I showed up at the wedding and made a scene, he'd realize he was marrying the wrong woman." My jaw dropped. "And are you planning to come?" "Hell no," Vanessa said. "Patricia is insane. Michael and I broke up 8 years ago. I'm happily married with 2 kids. I told her no, but she kept calling and even offered me $5,000 to show up and object during the ceremony. Bingo. I had everything I needed. But I didn't just want to stop Patricia. I wanted to teach her a lesson she'd never forget. Here's the thing about people like Patricia, they think they're smarter than everyone else. They think their manipulation is subtle and undetectable. That's their weakness. I decided to let Patricia think her plan was working. I didn't confront her. I didn't tell Michael the full extent of what she was planning. I just quietly prepared my countermove. First, I called Vanessa back and made a proposal. "Vanessa, how would you like to help me teach Patricia a lesson? I promise it'll be harmless but incredibly satisfying." Vanessa laughed. "I'm listening." Here was my plan. Vanessa would actually show up to the wedding, but as my guest, sitting with my family. I'd prepare a special surprise presentation during the reception. Patricia would be publicly exposed for her sabotage attempts. But I needed evidence. Cold, hard, undeniable evidence. So I spent the next week gathering everything. Screenshots of the changed vendor orders, which vendors had saved. The recording of Patricia's phone call from Jenna. Text message screenshots between Patricia and Vanessa. A sworn statement from Vanessa about the bribe attempt. Testimonies from my bridesmaids about the fake cancellation message. I put it all together in a beautiful digital presentation, set to autoplay during the reception. Then I made sure Patricia would have a front row seat to her own exposure. The morning of my wedding, I woke up with a smile. Not just because I was marrying the love of my life, but because I knew justice was coming. The ceremony was perfect. The garden was decorated beautifully, my dress fit like a dream, and when Michael saw me walking down the aisle, he had tears in his eyes. I noticed Patricia sitting in the front row, looking slightly smug. She kept glancing at her watch. She was waiting for her sabotage moment that would never come. Vanessa was sitting in the back with my family, smiling and waving at me supportively. We said our vows. We kissed. We were officially married. Patricia's face fell. Her plan had failed. But the real show was yet to come. At the reception, after dinner but before the dancing, I took the microphone. Everyone, thank you so much for being here on our special day. Before we continue the celebration, I want to take a moment to acknowledge someone who has been very involved in our wedding planning. My mother-in-law, Patricia. Patricia, could you stand up please? She stood, clearly thinking I was about to thank her. She had this self-satisfied smile on her face. Patricia has put so much effort into trying to make this day special. In fact, I've prepared a little presentation to show everyone just how dedicated she's been. The lights dimmed. The screen behind me lit up. The presentation began. Slide 1, Patricia's wedding planning contributions. Slide 2, screenshot of the cancelled flower order with Patricia's phone number highlighted. Slide 3, the caterer's email about the menu change to foods I'm allergic to. Slide 4, the fake cancellation message sent to my bridesmaids. Slide 5, audio playback of Patricia's phone call plotting to bring Vanessa. Slide 6, text messages between Patricia and Vanessa, including the $5,000 bribe offer. Slide 7, a photo of Vanessa at our wedding, as my guest, with the caption plot twist, she came anyway. The room went completely silent. Patricia's face turned white, then red, then purple. She looked like she might faint. Michael stood up from our table, walked over to his mother, and said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Mom, I think you should leave. Now." She tried to stammer out an excuse, but Michael's father, who'd had no idea about any of this, took her by the arm and escorted her out. The entire room erupted in applause. The rest of our wedding was absolutely magical. Without Patricia's dark cloud hanging over us, everyone relaxed and had an amazing time. Vanessa came up to me during the reception and gave me a hug. "That was the most epic thing I've ever witnessed," she said. Patricia had it coming for years. We actually became friends after that. She and her husband even came over for dinner a few months later. As for Patricia, the fallout was severe. Michael's entire extended family had witnessed her behavior. The family group chat was apparently brutal. Her own sisters called her out for being manipulative and toxic. Michael's father was furious, not just about the wedding sabotage, but about years of controlling behavior he'd been ignoring. Patricia was forced into therapy as a condition of maintaining any relationship with Michael. She had to write me a formal apology letter and agree to strict boundaries. For 6 months, we had zero contact with her. Michael made it clear, she could either respect our marriage and get help for her issues, or she could lose her son entirely. Eventually, she did apologize, a real, genuine apology. She admitted she'd been controlling and that her behavior came from fear of losing her son. We have a relationship with her now, but it's on our terms. She doesn't get to control our lives, make demands, or manipulate situations. And you know what? She actually seems happier too. Turns out, constantly scheming and controlling everyone is exhausting. So what did I learn from this whole experience? First, stand up for yourself. Don't let anyone, even family, walk all over you on your special day. Second, documentation is everything. If I hadn't gathered evidence, Patricia could have played victim and made me look like the bad guy. Third, sometimes the best revenge isn't sinking to their level, it's letting them expose themselves with their own actions. I didn't have to lie or manipulate. I just showed everyone exactly what Patricia had done, using her own words and actions. Today, Michael and I have been happily married for 2 years. We have boundaries with his family, a strong partnership, and a wedding story that people still talk about at parties. And every time I look at our wedding photos, I don't see the drama or stress. I just see the moment I married my best friend, and the moment I proved that I'm not someone to be messed with. If you enjoyed this story of wedding justice, let me know in the comments. Have you ever dealt with a nightmare mother-in-law? How did you handle it? Thanks for watching, and remember, your wedding is your day. Don't let anyone steal that from you.